Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. I'm here today on the last day of the week, in the second week that I've been talking about Proverbs. And this is the last week I'm going to visit Proverbs for a while. There's a lot more here, and I'll come back to it. But for today and for now, this will finish out our sessions. And today I want to look at Proverbs chapter 8, beginning with verse 34 and read to the end of the chapter. So here's what we see. Joyful are those who listen to me, watching for me daily at my gates, waiting for me outside my home. For whoever finds me finds life and receives favor from the Lord. But those who miss me injure themselves, and all who hate me love death. Ooh, that's an interesting ending. Let's do this in reverse order. Those who miss me injure themselves. Now that's really pretty simple. What it's saying is, if you don't want to walk with God, He's not going to make it. But the result is, you injure yourself. You hurt yourself. Now, would you deliberately do something to hurt yourself? Now, I know there's some people who have some real psychological issues and maybe even biochemical issues, and they hurt themselves. But we're not talking about those. I'm talking about the average run-of-the-mill you or me. Would you deliberately do something to hurt yourself? I mean, think about it. Imagine taking a pin and just sticking yourself. For what, the fun of it? Ouch, 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 ouch. Of course not. You wouldn't do something that simple. Would you go outside and pick up rocks and throw them at your feet so you can bash your toes? No, you wouldn't do that. Would you take a substance like alcohol or a drug that's going to destroy your body intentionally? Well, I hope not, though I know some who do. It says all of those who miss me, miss the Lord, don't walk with God, don't put Him in their lives, injure themselves. And those who hate God, hate meaning not so much I'm really angry at Him, though that's part of it, but hating meaning I don't want anything to do with Him. All those who do that love death. Now I know in this world it doesn't look that way, but this world doesn't last very long. We got a couple in our church who are in their 90s. That's unusual. There are a lot of people who are in their 50s that don't last into their 60s. And even if they make 110, I think the oldest woman in the world died recently. She was 116. Even if you made it to 116, what is 116 compared to how long humans have been on this earth? And how long is eternity afterwards? We cannot measure the future based on just today. We can't decide that today's goodness is all that there is, and so I won't think about the rest. If you're like me, you're getting older. Well, I'll rephrase that. If you're human, you're getting older. And you can't stop that. I know some people try, but in the end, they don't make it. So this is the negative part of this passage. And remember, Proverbs are advice for everyday life. So let's look at the positive, the first part. Joyful are those who listen to me, watching for me daily at my gate, waiting for me outside my home. Joyful are those who seek God. Oh, I know there's some pretty grumpy Christians out there, or at least that's how I would call them. I'm not talking about those folks. I'm talking about those who love the Lord and walk around with a smile on their face, who greet people and say, hey, I hope you have a good day, who come home after a good day's work and feel like, wow, that was a good day. Or someone who stays at home or retired and finds things to bless other people. Joyful are those who listen to me, who watch for me, and who wait for me, is what this passage says. And here's what happens to those who do. Now remember, the last part of this passage that I started speaking about first says, to those who don't, they injure themselves and they love death. Now, in comparison to that, it says, for whoever finds me finds life and finds favor from God. If you don't put God first in your life, you have missed out on the fullest meaning of life. Now, I know there are a lot of people who live their lives seemingly without God. And it seems like things are pretty good. But yet, all of us are subject to the same human problems that the Bible calls sin, disease, war, anger, frustration, negativity, disappointment, obsessiveness, envy, disappointment. All of these things you and I are subject to, but yet in the midst of those, in the midst of wherever you are today, it says here, whoever finds me finds life. Joy comes in the morning, regardless of the deadliness of night. You and I can live a life that's full of joy. It says so here. All we have to do is listen to God, watch for Him each day, and wait for Him. And when we do that, He rewards those folks with real, absolute, honest to goodness, fullness of life. Will you think about that today and this weekend? Hope you have a really great weekend. Hope it's really special for you in so many, many ways. If there's anything we can do to help you or pray for you, please let us know. We'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. Thanks so much for listening this week. God bless you. I'll talk to you again.